Landon, Ray, and Lena Requist run one of the fastest growing companies in America, which is Office Autopilot. It's a business and marketing automation tool for small businesses. Do you think your offices could be run more efficiently? Do you think we could use more automation? If the answer to those two questions is yes, I urge you to sit up straight, get alert, fasten your seatbelts, and get ready to rock. Landon and Lena, it's all yours.
Right. Can you hear us? Yes, hello?
Yes.
All right. Yeah. Hey, I'm Landon, and this is Lena.
Hi.
And so actually our company is called Entreport, and we run a very quickly growing software company in Santa Barbara, California. We do marketing automation and business automation for thousands of small businesses around the world. And we've won a lot of awards over the last several years, including the Inc. 500, Forbes Most Promising Companies, and some other awards that we're pretty proud of, including the Achievers 50 Most Engaged Companies, several awards that were actually won for us by our employees, sort of applying and sending anonymous surveys about the workplace. Yes?
Yes.
And we are here because?
We're here because Julie actually came to our conference in Santa Barbara about our software tool. She uses it in her business, and we actually have many service professionals, and you'll see a little bit of a video that one of our clients did for us at the end. Service professionals like yourself that run contracting type businesses. So she came to our conference in Santa Barbara and heard our talk there about how we run our organization and why we credit the way we run our organization in terms of how fast we've grown, in terms of increasing revenue, focusing on efficiency, inspiring our staff to do more with less, a lot of what you guys have been talking about today. So she thought that the way we run our business would be really exciting for you guys, and you would get a lot out of it. So she asked us to come here and talk about that, and that's what we're going to do. And then we'll tell you a little bit about our software at the end.
Yeah, so we were billed as a business automation talk. That wasn't originally what we were asked here to come talk about, so we'll talk about a little bit about that at the end. But what we want to talk about is today is about how we run our business. It's a little bit different than most businesses are run. And so we're going to share, and this has been interesting. We've been sitting in the back of the room for the last few hours hearing about the struggles that you guys have in terms of recruiting talent, keeping them motivated, keeping them working for you if they're successful. And of course, this is the same kind of challenges that any company has. In our industry, we fight for developers. I don't know if any of you have taken on a software project, but if you have, you may have noticed that developers are almost impossible to recruit. The war for that kind of talent is absolutely ridiculous, and we spend a huge amount of time and money building a development team, which for us is one of the core pieces of our business. Another area of the business that's really hard for us to recruit into is graphic design. In software, you can imagine like Apple, right? They've made a business out of beautiful design, and nowadays the bar has just sort of been raised, and it is required now to produce products in our industry that are just gorgeous. And finding the people that have the experience and the talent to do that is very, very difficult.
And we have an added challenge too, because we're in Santa Barbara, and most engineers don't want to relocate from Silicon Valley to Santa Barbara. So not only are we having to attract the really great talent, like you guys are trying to attract really great technicians that are expensive and you have to train them, but we are asking them to relocate their families also to Santa Barbara.
And take a real risk, because the action is in Silicon Valley, right? If it doesn't work out with us, then they got to move again back to where it's all happening. So it's a big challenge. The other thing that's challenging for us, and I'm sure for you, it's the same thing, is to make sure that we are creating really extraordinary experiences for our clients on a regular basis, right? Ultimately, in the long term, the experience that we're delivering to our clients is going to determine our success. And as you know, when you started out in business, it was probably you on the phone, right? It was probably you, making the phone calls and making the sales. Maybe you were even installing, who knows? And you were responsible for that initial success. You were the nice guy on the phone or nice gal that was making people feel good, making sure that every client was handled the way you wanted them to be handled. And then as your business grew, you needed to add employees, and pretty quickly, our experience was my experience. We were 3 people in 2009, and all of a sudden we had this successful business, and we were dozens of people, and no longer was I able to do any of that stuff. I wasn't having sales conversations, I wasn't having support conversations, I wasn't doing installations, I wasn't doing any of that stuff, and my only access to ensuring that we were continuing to deliver the kind of experiences that we were committed to was through creating an environment where the people that are working for us are thriving and inspired and have the same commitment that we do to excellence. Does that make sense? So when we think about what it takes these days to create a company that is going to be successful in the long term, we think about it in this framework, that it takes 4 things. It's about vision, leadership, strategy, and operations. And we're going to talk just a little bit about a couple of these today. First, just so you guys were on the same page about what we think of when we think of these things. Vision is about making sure we're heading in the right direction. What is this organization going to be? What are we here for, right? What is the destination for this group of people? What's it going to look like in 5 years? Strategy is about how we're going to get there. Are we going to be the low-price leader, or are we going to create some, amazing, marketing strategy? Or are we going to create new kind of products and services that are going to blow the market's mind? How are we going to differentiate ourselves and reach the ultimate goal? Operations, of course, is about making sure that we're actually able to move the ball forward, right? That we actually can get work done and get it done well. And that's all the systems and processes that we've been talking about here today. And leadership is ultimately about getting the right people on your team and doing their best work. And we decided today to focus on leadership and operations. And there's a reason for that, and that is that we figured that you guys are already in business. A lot of times, it seems like if you kind of can't get the vision right and the strategy right, you're just kind of not going to get off the ground as a business at all. And we work with a lot of beginning entrepreneurs. We have, as I said, thousands of businesses around the world that use our platform, and many of them don't have any employees at all. They're just solopreneurs. They're just getting off the ground. They're getting started, and then of course we have some very sophisticated, very large businesses that also use our stuff. But as you can imagine, the beginners take a lot of our attention, right? Because they're trying to figure it out, and the biggest challenge for them is figuring out what it is they're going to do exactly, and how they're going to get there, right? But once you've got your mind around that, you need to get your mind around that in order to get to where most of the people in this room are, right? The next phase really is about looking at your operations, which we've been talking about a lot this morning, and the leadership of your organization. And the thing about getting these 2 parts of your business right is that without getting this right, you're never going to really have the vision that you created. You're never going to have the life that you want, right? What's one of the most painful things that we see kind of over and over and over again with the clients that we work with is that they got into business with a certain idea about what the entrepreneurial life was going to be, right? It was going to be about working for yourself and having a certain kind of unlimited income potential and living a certain lifestyle and having control over your schedule and ultimately being an owner of a business that kind of runs by itself and freedom, right? Freedom and the ability to cause your vision in the real world, to make stuff happen.
Spend more time with your family, right? Most people, if you show hands, how many people got into business for what Landon just said, right? Or you took over the family business or something like that. It wasn't to, manage staff or put out fires.
Yeah, so what unfortunately happens too often is that what entrepreneurship really looks like in the actual world is total insanity, right? You are the bottleneck in your business. Every employee is coming to you to get every question answered. You're glued to your cell phone. I've got my cell phone up here on stage. I'm kidding. Yeah, you're glued to your cell phone on the weekends. You're the ultimate, fire putter outer, and it feels like you never quite have a handle on your life. And you may be making the money, but you don't have the time, or you may not have, or you may not be making the money. It never quite happens without getting this stuff right. So I think it's really important to take a look at these things and step back for a minute. We've been talking a lot about tactics. How do we compensate our people? And how do we, what's our step-by-step process for recruiting, which is critically important in terms of operations. And I think it's worth it for a minute to step back and look at how we're thinking about our organization and creating an organization, right? So, as I said, leadership, getting the right people on your team, operations is about moving the ball forward. So, I'm going to talk about leadership. Lena's going to talk a little bit about operations. Lena's our COO. I'm the founder of the company. I started it in 2006, and Lena came on after we finally figured out what we were doing and started actually growing the business in 2009. She came on in 2010. We were growing really fast at that point, and she pretty much turned us into a real company. She's the operations person. We recruited her away from a very large international design firm where she was the COO, right? President?
Managing
director, something like that. She was running the whole show. The owner over there was on her yacht in the Caribbean all the time, so it was Lena's baby. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to talk a little bit about leadership. She's going to talk about operations. And then we're going to talk about the stuff that we were supposed to talk about, which is marketing automation. So leadership is about attracting the best people to your team, right? Which is what we've been hearing about this morning. How do we get these amazing salespeople and amazing installers to come work for us as opposed to starting their own gigs or working for the competition? And it's about getting those people to do their best work. It's our feeling that paying them more is not the way to do that. The way that and certainly not to, make it hard for them to leave, or the way that we figure that you do this is to create an environment where the best people will thrive, right? So we spend a lot of time thinking about how do we create an environment in our organization that will attract the very best people and have them thrive. So one of the things there's a couple of things that great people need in order to feel good about working in your organization and to thrive there. One of them is they need to feel good about you, right? To feel good about you as a leader. Because when somebody makes a decision to come to work for you, they're really kind of hooking the wagon of their life onto your engine, right? And so there's an extraordinary amount of trust that happens, especially with the best people, right? The best people could be doing what you do. The best people could be, again, working for the competition. Why are they going to choose you? So it's worth thinking about not just how do I become a great leader, but maybe flipping the question around and asking, why is it that people follow? Why would somebody great hook their wagon to your train? Caboose? Car? What is it they hook to your engine? Whatever it is. So we thought a bit about this, and we think that there's 6 reasons why people follow, and I think that we'll all see ourselves in each one of these different levels, and through looking at these levels for a minute, we'll maybe have some insights about how we could do leadership in a way that attracts the kind of people that we want to attract.